Avinash Krishnan is a wildlife biologist and conservation scientist with over 15 years of experience studying elephants and fostering human-wildlife coexistence across India. As the Director of Conservation Science at A. Rocha, India, he leads innovative programs on elephant conservation, conflict mitigation, and community engagement in the Bannerghatta Hosur landscape. An active member of the IUCN SSC Asian Elephant Specialist Group, Avinash combines rigorous science with empathy-driven fieldwork to bridge communities, technology, and conservation policy. His work reflects a deep belief that coexistence with nature begins with understanding, compassion, and shared stewardship.
So our last speaker will take us on a journey that redefines coexistence, not as a distant ideal, but as a way of life. Our speaker will remind us that the world does not belong to us alone and that wisdom sometimes walks on four legs. Let us now learn more about our last speaker of the day.
Well, I'm basically an extempo speaker, but Ted has given me a very new opportunity. So with that, let me express my warm gratitude and good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I just have two fundamental questions to all of you. How many of you all have seen elephants? They're quite dark at the back. Can you just give me a loud yes? I'm very inspired by Arijit. Okay. And the next most fundamental question is, how many of you all like or love elephants? Loudly? Okay. So with that, let's begin in the footsteps of the giant. So there's a photograph of me. That's me, by the way. I don't know when that was, taken by my mom. With my face pressed against the bars of the Bannerghatta Zoo. And I was essentially trying to look at what we call as a cheetal or a spotted deer. What I realized that animal wasn't wild. It was basically caged. And that day was essentially the day I saw my first wild animal. And like I said, the animal wasn't wild, it was just my understanding of it. Has it ever happened that if you've realized that what you're looking at was not the thing itself, but your imagination of it? And ironically, and I never did imagine that I would return to this very landscape, the Bannerghatta landscape, many years later, not as a visitor, not looking through the bars, but as a biologist trying to conserve the elephants of that landscape. The bars were not gone from the zoo, but from my understanding of what nature is. And that photograph reminds me that where we begin is not where we end, and what can start as childhood curiosity can become a lifelong calling. Bangalore and Bannerghatta, many of you all must have heard these terms, Bangalore and Bannerghatta. They sit side by side. They're basically two words colliding. The city pushes outward its roads, highways, buildings, and the forest holds its ground by its wild elephants, leopards, tigers, and also the people who live along the edges. Bannerghatta is not a forest at the edge of the city. It's essentially a forest that's surviving an invasion. Glass towers versus elephant footprints, the contrast defines this tension. This isn't just a Bannerghatta story, actually. Across India, across Asia, elephants walk through farms, railway lines, roads, cities, and people who try to farm, drive, and sleep, each of them face this collision, this strained relations, and both pay a price. People lose their crops, they're killed in retaliation, and so do elephants. They get captured, and they also do die sometimes. And this causes a lot of frightenness in the communities, and this increased tension results in what we call as conflict. For centuries, coexistence was not just a slogan. It was essentially a reality in the way we all lived. But with shrinking forests and expanding cities, this old rhythm is beginning to break. So what elephants have actually taught me is very simple and yet very, very profound. It applies to all of us. that coexistence isn't just a theory, it's like all practices. It either thrives through attention or collapses through neglect. So let me introduce you to some of my friends. Take Siddha, a large male. I saw him in 2007 first, and well known in Bannerghatta. And by the time I first encountered him, he was a magnificent beast. He was huge, and his presence literally commanded the forest. And years later, he carried the pain of a broken leg. And in that video, you can see that he actually slips and falls off. And during that time, I really saw what power and restraint meant. And despite his injury, there was an occasion where he charged into a forest department vehicle and literally smashed it. And then he turned into mine. I was not in the car. I was saved. But I saw him press his massive forehead on the bonnet of my Jeep. And I was standing right beside that. It looked like the time had frozen. And I was also frozen, bracing for the impact. And nor did the time slow down. But he did nothing. He simply let go. And despite his pain and power, he also spared me. Weeks later, he slipped into a canal and died after prolonged suffering. And he was gone. His story is still etched into the collective memories of everyone who knew him and everyone who remembered him. And then there was Ranga, again another good friend of mine. Unlike Siddha's restraint, Ranga carried raw force. He once charged at me with such intensity that I knew that I would never make it. But yet, I watched him adapt to the chaos of highways, and that's the old Mysore road, if some of you will ply on that road for your commute. I actually watched him adapt to chaos of highways, timing his crossing, watching traffic signals, and navigating a world that should have never been his. Where I saw Siddha hold back, I saw Ranga crashing through. The irony of this story is very heavy, actually. The forest king, who once commanded the forest as well as mastered the art of crossing highways, lost his life to an urban missionary. After years of conflict, he was captured and tamed as a camp elephant. And one day, as he was being led back to his camp, he was hit by a bus and killed. And then there were the humans who shaped this journey. Ajay Desai, the renowned elephant scientist, who opened my eyes to the world and the vastness of elephant corridors, their ecology, their behavior, and the way their movements stitch landscapes together. And Madana, Chick Madana as we fondly call him, a tribal tracker, who could read the forest floor like a living book. He taught me that every single sign, it could be an overturned stone, a bent blade of grass, can carry so many stories if you know how to look. All four, Siddha, Ranga, Ajay, Madana, and Omo. 4 teachers, none with classrooms. 4 males, 4 different personalities whose lives and death continue to guide me. Their stories remind us that coexistence is not abstract, it's lived, tested, and often paid for in blood and memory. So what do we do with all these stories? And how do we turn them into action? Number 1, guard memory, not just geography. Elephants don't just walk, they remember. Corridors are cultural highways passed down to generations, and protecting them is not just about saving trees, it's about preserving memory. Number 2, design with elephants in mind, not after they arrive. Coexistence is not about elephants adjusting to us, it's about us designing spaces for shared survival. Overpasses, early warning systems, elephant-friendly fences are not luxuries, but are necessities. Number 3, learn restraint. From Siddha, I learned that power can choose to pause, and power is actually not the ability to act, but is the wisdom to restrain. For us, this means resisting the urge to escalate conflict. It means patience with policy, compassion in response, and humility in action. Number 4, learn resilience. From Ranga, I learned that adaptation is possible even under pressure. We too must adapt in changing farming practices, utilizing technology, and diversifying livelihoods to reduce conflict and strengthen coexistence. And number 5, learn to see differently. From Ajay and Madana, I learned that details matter. Data, science, observation can actually reveal patterns that might be new to an untrained eye. And those patterns can guide solutions that are practical and not just emotional. Science gives us data, culture gives us memory, and coexistence needs both. So the takeaway is very simple. Coexistence is not a single solution. It's a posture, it's a mindset, and of seeing the world as shared and not owned. So when I look back at that photograph of that young boy staring at a spotted deer at the Bannerghatta Zoo, I see a circle completed, from cages to corridors, from fear to understanding. The future of elephants and ourselves depends on our ability to make space, to respect, and to remember. And if we make space, elephants will walk. If we remember, they will return. And finally, in their footsteps, we all may learn how to live. Thank you.